Uncle Raymond leans across the picnic table in front of 30 family members and says, "Celeste, let's be honest. You've never amounted to anything." The table goes quiet. Someone laughs nervously. A child stops eating, and that was the moment everything changed, just not the way he planned. My name is Celeste Marino. I'm 34 years old, born and raised in a mid-sized town in New Jersey, and I want to tell you exactly what happened that afternoon. I work as a mid-level urban planning consultant. It's not glamorous, it doesn't get me a seat at any important table, literally or figuratively. At family gatherings, I'm the one people greet warmly and forget quickly. The kind of person who gets asked, "So what are you up to these days?" with a smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes. My family is large, loud, and Italian-American through and through. And for as long as I can remember, the center of gravity in our family has been Uncle Raymond, my mother's older brother. A successful real estate developer with a big voice, a bigger ego, and an effortless ability to make everyone around him feel slightly smaller than they actually are. 3 years ago, my mother passed away. She was the one person in that family who saw me clearly. After she was gone, I lost my footing at gatherings. I stopped being someone's daughter. I became someone's quiet, grieving niece who didn't have much to say. I took a slower path after losing her. I focused on work, on healing, on rebuilding something inside myself that had gone very still. The family read my silence as failure. They weren't being cruel, most of them. They just filled in the blanks with what made the most sense to them. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't loud, but I had been quietly building something none of them knew about. This reunion was the first one where I came hoping for peace. I want you to hold on to that because it matters. If you've ever been written off by the people who are supposed to believe in you most, you already know how this feels. Subscribe so you never miss a story like this. And tell me, have you ever been underestimated by your own family? Click like if you have. The annual Marino family reunion is always held at Uncle Raymond's house, the biggest property, the nicest yard, chosen every single year for the same reason a king holds court in a castle. The location is the message. This year had a special energy. Raymond's daughter Gianna was being celebrated. She's the one the family has always held up as proof that the Marino bloodline produces winners. Straight-A student, married well, runs Raymond's for an office with the kind of efficiency that earns her genuine praise and, I suspect, genuine exhaustion. That afternoon, there was a banner. Actual applause. A toast with raised glasses because Gianna had closed $1 million deal. I watched from the far end of the yard, seated at the table near the kids and the elderly relatives. I had noticed this placement before. It wasn't accidental. It was a quiet kind of message, the sort that comes with plausible deniability. Raymond was mid-toast, glass raised, when he turned and gestured toward me. Not to include me. To use me as contrast. "Some of us in this family work hard and make something," he said, smiling at the crowd. "Others, well, they figure it out eventually." Light laughter rippled through the group. Gianna smirked into her drink. My aunt touched my arm a moment later. "Don't make a scene," she whispered. "He's just proud of Gianna." I nodded. I didn't make a scene. Then Raymond announced the centerpiece of his afternoon. He was donating a wing of the new community center to the family name, the Marino Family Civic Hall. He had already spoken to the mayor's office, he said. He looked directly at me as he finished. "This is how you build a legacy. Not by hiding." What Raymond didn't know, what I hadn't told a single person at that gathering, was that I am the lead urban planning consultant on that community center project. My firm won the contract through competitive bid. The mayor's office didn't reach out to Raymond about naming rights. Raymond reached out to them. And when they received his request, they flagged it as a potential conflict of interest and redirected it straight to the project lead for review. That project lead was me. His request was sitting on my desk. After the toast, I approached Raymond quietly. I mentioned carefully that I had a professional connection to the community center project. He didn't even let me finish the sentence. He waved one hand in the air like he was shooing something away. "Celeste, please. Don't try to insert yourself into something serious." He turned back to his friends. Just like that. Door closed. I stood there for a moment, breathing in the smell of cut grass and grilled meat and the particular staleness of being dismissed. And I walked away. During the family photo, Raymond's wife directed me to the back row. Loudly enough for the neighbors to hear, she told someone standing nearby, "She's going through a phase. No husband, no kids, no direction. Since her mother passed, she just drifts." I kept my face still. My hands were steady. But something inside me had stopped being sad and started being something colder and much more certain. The third moment was the one that made the decision final. My cousin pulled me aside and she wasn't there to comfort me. She was delivering a message from Raymond. If I had any professional involvement with the community center, he wanted me to quietly hand it off or make myself invisible. He built his name in this town, she said. He doesn't want confusion. The meaning was plain. Step aside, erase yourself. Or he would make calls. That was the moment I stopped hoping for peace. He didn't want peace. He wanted submission. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I nodded, smiled, walked away, and made a phone call. What they didn't know was that for the past 2 years, I had been the quiet engine behind the biggest civic project this town had seen in a decade. My firm operates under its consulting name, not under mine personally. That's standard practice in the industry, and it's exactly why no one in my family had ever connected the dots. My name wasn't on the press releases, my firm's name was. To them, I was just drifting. To the mayor's office, I was the person they called every other week. I had led the design proposal. I had been in bi-weekly planning meetings. I had made decisions about that building that would shape how the community used it for generations. And Raymond's attempt to buy a legacy had been escalated directly to me as a conflict of interest because he had misrepresented his connection to the project entirely. I had a decision to make. I could stay invisible, or I could let the truth walk into that reunion on its own 2 feet. I called the mayor's scheduler, casually. I mentioned I was at a family event and gave the address. Just that, nothing more. The ally who found me that afternoon wasn't who I expected. It was Mr. DeFeo. A semi-retired family lawyer who had handled my mother's estate, a quiet man with careful eyes who had been watching Raymond operate for decades from a polite and careful distance. He found me near the drink table, paper plates and lemonade, the sounds of the party carrying across the yard, children running, someone's speaker playing something old in Italian. He sat down beside me and said, low and steady, "Your mother left you more than money, Celeste. She left you her name. Don't let him bury it." Then he told me something I hadn't known. Years ago, Raymond had tried to pressure my mother into signing over a small piece of property that would later become valuable. She refused, Mr. Hughes. DeFeo had kept the correspondence, the letters where Raymond's pressure had been clear and the family loyalty card had been played without shame. He wasn't suggesting I use them as a weapon. He just wanted me to know they existed. And knowing steadied me in a way that surprised me. Meanwhile, Raymond had grown louder as the afternoon wore on, toasting himself again, telling the neighbors that the Marino name would be on that building forever. Gianna came and stood beside me at one point, and I saw something shifting behind her eyes. "Why aren't you upset?" she asked. "You should be upset." She didn't say it meanly. She said it like someone who had expected a reaction and was unsettled by its absence. Raymond stood up for a final speech. Legacy. Family leadership. What it means to carry the Marino name with pride. He didn't mention me once. Not even as contrast this time. Just invisible. Then the black SUV pulled up. 2 staffers stepped out first. Then Mayor Patricia Del Vecchio walked through the gate in weekend clothes, clearly making a personal stop on her own time. The yard went still. Raymond straightened immediately, extending his hand, voice shifting into the version of himself he used for important people. "Mayor! I was just speaking about the community center. I'm so glad you." She smiled politely, stepped past him, walked directly toward me. "Celeste." Her voice was warm and unhurried. "I'm glad I caught you. I wanted to personally thank you. Your team's work on the Riverside Civic Center is exactly what the city needed. We're announcing the lead consultant publicly next week, but I wanted you to hear it from me first." She shook my hand. In front of all of them. The silence had a texture to it. I could hear the cicadas. I could hear someone's ice shifting in a cup. Raymond's face moved through confusion, then recognition, then something I had never seen on him before. Something close to shame. He tried to recover. "Well, I didn't realize you two knew each other." The mayor glanced at him with the calm precision of someone who deals with difficult people regularly. "Mr. Marino, I believe you contacted our office about naming rights?" My chief of staff mentioned the request was referred to the project lead for review. A beat of silence, clean and complete. "That's Celeste?" I kept my voice even. "No cruelty. No performance. I wasn't hiding, Uncle Raymond. I was just working. That's what I do." From the side of the yard, Mr. Button, DeFeo raised his lemonade glass. Just slightly. Just enough. Gianna didn't speak. Raymond's wife had gone very quiet. The mayor stayed for 10 minutes, talked with me about the project timeline, and left with the same calm ease she had arrived with. The party never found its footing again after that. Raymond came to me once more before I left, quieter than I had ever heard him. "You could have told me," he said. I looked at him. "You never asked." I left before dessert. Not dramatically. I hugged the relatives I loved. I squeezed Mr. DeFeo's hand and thanked him. I walked to my car while the late afternoon light was still gold and warm, and I felt something loosen in my chest that had been tight for 3 years. In the days that followed, the mayor's office released the public announcement. My firm's name, my work, the project I had given 2 years of quiet mornings and long evenings to. Local press picked it up. My name, my mother's name, was now attached to something permanent in the town where we were both raised. Raymond sent a text. I read it. I didn't reply. Gianna called once. I listened. I told her I wished her well, and I meant it without bitterness. My mother used to say that a quiet life isn't a small life. Standing in my kitchen the morning the announcement went live, coffee going cold on the counter, I finally understood what she meant. I wasn't invisible. I was just saving my reveal for the right room. I never needed their applause. I just needed to remember that I was already enough long before the mayor shook my hand. If someone in your life has ever used your pain as proof that you don't matter, this story is for you. Being dismissed by family after loss, carrying quiet grief while everyone else mistakes your silence for failure, that wound is specific and it is real. Drop a comment and share your story. You'd be surprised how many people are sitting at the back table, quietly building something extraordinary. Click like to help the story reach the people who need it. Every week I share stories about real people who were counted out by family, by circumstance, by the people who were supposed to love them most. If that sounds like your life, even a little, subscribe and stay with me. And before you go, who in your life underestimated you the most? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.